All right, a very good morning to you. Thank you for keeping it K24. This being a Monday morning, you know what it is. Another session of Trendsetters where we catch individuals who are winning at their game, doing their most. Mostly we tend to have those who are actually in biashara or who are in social enterprise. But today it's all about the personalities. Oh man, you're going to love this one. But first of all, remember that our social media platforms are still the same. That's at K24 TV on Instagram, Facebook, as well as X. Our WhatsApp number scrolling at the bottom of your screen should you wish to contribute to our ongoing discussions right here on K24. Speaking about K24 as Media Max, you do know that we do partner up with BBC for Focus on Africa. It is a segment within BBC News that provides coverage of news and events from the African continent and beyond. And the two Kenyans who are here on set, I must say, are representing us very, very well on this international platform. Waihiga, Mwaura and Roncliffe, Odit are very, very notable faces on BBC Focus of Africa, and they're here today. Hi guys, let me start off with Odit.
Mine is up in the air. I like that. I like that.
Now let me tell you why I'm so glad to be here, because I have personally worked with both Waihiga and with Odit. So guys, how nice is this? How good am I feeling that I'm the one in charge? Odit, karibu sana.
Asante sana. Kwanza niongee Kiswahili, si ndio?
By the way, in fact, for you, this is going to be interesting. So, no, you can switch.
I can switch.
Yeah, if you want to stick to Swahili, haina shida.
You know, Waihiga yuko hapa is trying to intimidate me.
Na kizungu yake yote.
Kizungu yake yote. But I always tell him, mimi pia nilienda shule. You know, and I went to some of the good schools in Kenya, right, like Serani Primary, where tulisoma na Joho. So
fantastic. Now we know it's A1.
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, it's a privilege to be here, and especially to be here and being hosted by you. You know, a few minutes before this started, we were chatting about how me and Waihiga used to be the one in charge in our different platforms, you know, in the shows that we do. But so today, this feels a bit humbling. Yes. You know, a bit intimidating. But I think it's really lovely to be here. Yeah. Asante sana.
Especially with all the hard questions you like asking, Waihiga. Today, are you ready for hard questions?
First, I was going to say that I was really glad when I heard you're the one doing
it. Because I'm so bubbly and
we've done a show before with her, and hopefully she'll go easy on me. But it's very interesting being on the other side.
Right, isn't it?
I've actually gotten this, especially the last minute before you go on air.
Yeah.
I don't know what his feet were doing. I think mine were like, I kept like folding and unfolding them. But we're going to have a good time.
I know, because it's very strange for when you're so used to every single day being the one, being the inquisitive one, inquiring, asking the questions, and then now you're on the other side. So you kind of know how your guests feel. You know how the president feels.
I know. Talking about presidents, this last week, I think we both had an opportunity to interview the president.
Correct.
And I remember, if you go to my
social media,
you'll find the post,
TikTok.
Especially my TikTok. I posted it there. You know, so after the interview, you know, we had a bit of a chit chat. Where it was like, nyimu pambane huko hata mi huko nangangana. You know, and then I was like, that is his way of, you know, easing up and trying to release the tension, especially after Waihiga had very tough questions on him. You know, Waihiga is a bit tough. I'm a bit, niko na Uswahili. So I'm trying to be a friend.
Now watu wa pwani, by the way, are always so friendly. Sika watu wa bara, you know.
Watu wa bara wana.
Tuko na mashida nyingi.
Wakishi sana nyinyi watu wa bara.
I mean, just to add to what he said, I think one of the things people never think about, and I know you get this even now, is how much pressure you're under from audiences. Yeah. Because you are the one with that rare opportunity to ask people questions. So you always imagine if that audience member can't be here, you have to represent them in the best way. Because they're the ones who give us the ability to do what we do. And it's even harder now from an East African or from an African perspective, because they're like, you're the one with that one opportunity to speak to person XYZ.
Right.
Please ask the questions that make sense for us. So I think that pressure sometimes drives the kind of questions you ask. Fair, but important. Is the way I like to put it.
And you know, we'll talk a little bit about that as we're moving along, because today we are not here to talk about the news. So this is not news related. please, guys. Okay, this is about work-life experience as journalists. And so, first of all, congratulations, the two of you, for having been selected to work on such a platform. It's such an honor to have you guys on the show. Congratulations for making it 1 year anniversary. Woo, good stuff. Happy birthday or belated birthday.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah.
Another cake. Why he gonna penda cake sana? Every time I see him on set, there's always a cake.
At Apa, I was expecting.
Actually, I'm a bit disappointed.
I thought, okay, we're gonna pull up our
cake.
I swear to God, I told my boss about it. I don't know if there's going to be a cake, because I was like, Waihiga has something about cakes. But anyway, guys, let me ask you, how did you feel about transitioning to BBC? Did you kind of have that struggle between, oh my God, okay, I'm gonna kind of be away from my audience, yani wanainchi kabisa, and working now on this platform? Or do you feel it's all the same? It's all the same. Rodit, how did you feel for Odit?
So I've been on BBC now, with BBC for 6 years.
Yeah.
So transitioning, because where we used to work together at KBC, the state broadcaster. So it wasn't easy. You know, you have an audience that you've created over a period of time. You have people that look up to you. You have people that you engage with all this time. And then now you're going to try and create a whole different audience. And you're trying to do it globally. It's not easy. You know, you have a huge responsibility on your shoulders. And you always feel, am I really, you know, enough for this? There is that, you know, you have a bit of jittery when thinking about the responsibility. But I have to admit, it's really fulfilling. Yeah. It's really fulfilling when, you know, you go, so my program airs at on K24 at 10 p.m., but on other global platforms at 9 p.m.
Right.
And when it goes live, you know, you get a text message or a call or somebody DMs you all the way from Washington.
Wow, mwingine wa Nigeria,
mwingine Japan, you know. Auchezi tena ligi ya hapa. Yani tena ukutani tena na wale washikaji wa hapa. Unajua? Sijui kama umenifahamu vizuri. Yani unakuwa wewe umeondokana kabisa na washikaji wa Globe. Unaona? Washikaji wa kukutana, yani tao hapa nini?
Sawa.
Wewe sasa zako zikiingia.
Let me tell you this guy, hata kama ni kuinuka, not like
He's
that.
The life of the party.
I'm telling you, isn't he? For Waihiga, how did that feel for you? You know, coming off from a platform like, you know, like Citizen, where of course, you know, you're being seen within the region, and then now there's kind of that detachment. How did that feel for you?
I mean, as I'm thinking about that, I would say I can answer it in two ways.
Yeah.
A journalist is a journalist, whether you're working for a national broadcaster, regional, international, or running your own gig.
Right,
you know?
or your podcast.
When you wake up in the morning, you're thinking the same thing. What are the best stories? What do audiences need to hear? Or you're running a podcast. I like that. Or a podcast. But on the other hand, obviously, there is the temptation of what the audience that directly interacts with you, especially on Twitter, are talking about. And sometimes you might be working on a story in another part of the world when you work for an international broadcaster that isn't very relevant to them at that time. So it's sort of kind of trying to figure out how you can do stories that make sense for much broader audience. So for me, I think it was a challenge that how can I tell stories that are relevant for all audiences, whether it's the audience that first knew me when I first started, or new ones that are coming in. And it is interesting when guys DM you from places you have never heard of around the world. And they're like, I'm following you and I like this, or I don't like this, I'd like you to improve it as well. I mean, we go on at 7:30 on BBC and at 8:30 on K24 and other platforms as well. And the feedback that we get guides our decision making and our discussions in meetings the next day. So it's very important. But ultimately, we all do the same job. That's the way I like to look at it. Your skills are the same wherever you're working, whether it's you're running your own gig or anywhere in the world.
The only challenge at times is when you're thinking of now the audience. So if I'm doing a story today about the Matatu menace in Nairobi, and I'm doing it for a Kenyan audience, everybody understands Matatu. Like and everybody understands how Matatu operate. But now every day in meetings that I sit in, when we are discussing such a story, the question will be, and the editor will be very specific, somebody watching you in Sri Lanka. Or Washington. How does that person relate with you? And you're thinking, ni kweli, mtu yuko Washington hata hakuna matatu, hata ajui graffiti.
By the way, huko ni matatu, Tanzania ni daladala.
And then you go to Uganda, wanaita taxi.
Even
South Africa,
yes,
they call taxi.
Taxi is correct.
And so you're thinking, okay, huyo mtu wa South Africa ambaye ana watch. You know, how do they relate to the Matatu menace in Nairobi? So I think that is the challenge. But again, like Waihiga says, you know, that tests your journalistic instincts, your decision making when it comes to editorial decisions. And so it's really a nice challenge. I like looking at it that way. Every day.
But let me also say this, just off something he said. Social media has equalized the world in a sense.
Okay.
That as much as you can group different media houses as international, regional in terms of their reach, social media platforms of journalists can be accessed anywhere.
Right.
So in a sense now, all journalists can speak to global audience. Like, you can tweet something thinking you're tweeting for a Kenyan audience. Then you get some context from someone and who says, that's not right.
Yeah.
Because of 1, 2, 3, 4 as well.
Right.
So I think everyone must walk around thinking, whatever story I'm working on,
correct.
If it is viewed beyond borders, does it make sense? Have I fact checked to make sure the facts? You know, you can't just say in other countries they do X, Y, Z. You must now research if they actually do that.
Yeah.
Because you can tweet that, and then someone comes and says, no,
I live in Alaska. What are you saying?
That's not right as well.
Don't tell me that.
So journalists are facing challenges, obviously adapting to the way social media has just made information so easily shareable. But I think it's also made it easier for us to tell our stories around the world.
I love it. I love it. And it gives you such a fair, playing ground. All of us have the opportunity to reach someone. So since umeomoka sana, tell us about the working culture. Now you're meeting a multicultural,
Oh yeah, that's really different.
Na Mchina, unapitana na
unajua hapa sasa hapa nilikuwa nimezoea tu nakutana na wewe. Nikienda field nakutana na Waihiga. You know?
Maybe Odit I will chase you from this set. Tumezoea tu
hii unajua wazee tu malokol bana. Lakini huko sidili na malokol. Unajua sasa huko I have an opportunity to interact with journalists from across the globe, which is really nice because unapata wase wako na different perspective.
Right.
The culture of BBC, I think one of our pillars is one BBC. So we are all one, irrespective of our different cultures, ethnicity and all that. And it's really nice because you work, for example, myself, I work with a lot of Tanzanians because of Kiswahili.
Yeah.
But pia niko na journalist ambao tunafanya nao wako London, wengine South Africa.
Right.
And like if I give an example of last year in December, I spent almost the entire month in DRC.
Oh wow.
Covering the elections. And so unapata huko watu wanaongea Kifaransa mazee, mimi hapo sana nimekuja na Kiswahili jo. Unajua? Alafu nakuta pia watu wanaongea Kiswahili ya Kongo. Ile ya batoto ba Mungu. Mimi sielewi. So it comes with its own fair challenges because you're trying to to bring yourself to their level because like I said, the culture at BBC is we are all one, so we are one BBC. So it's really different, but it's also nice. Inakupatia hiyo opportunity learning something new every day because you're meeting different people. If you come to our bureau in Nairobi, you will always find somebody from another nation visiting.
This is
correct. Always somebody who is not Kenyan who is working from the bureau.
Oh, nice. So
you have to work with them, There is an engineer ametoka Washington maybe. You will find this guy coming from Canada. You will find somebody ametoka India.
Right.
And they're in the office.
Yeah.
So I think that is really nice because it breaks the barriers, of trying to fit mimi ni Mkenya.
Yeah.
So then, you become more global, you become more international.
You do.
Shai mambo ya kusema ati mimi ni
there's a fantastic diversity and exchange of ideas that improves the work that we do. But also you also get to appreciate the successes of other African countries, what they're doing through the work that we do, but also the challenges. And you realize that in many ways, a challenge in your country is also being experienced elsewhere. And so you're able to kind of connect the dots.
Right.
Whether you're covering the election in South Africa that happened about 2 weeks ago, whether you're speaking to like a president in Senegal as they're leaving, the context that it gives you helps you better understand the issues that are unique on the African continent, but also the solutions that have been working in one part that could hopefully work elsewhere. And that drives a lot of the stories that we do and then the feedback that we get as well. But for us, I mean, just like what he said, it improves the work that we do because of the diversity of thinking around issues. No longer sort of the way you'd have thought in the past, but now with a more global perspective. Then add social media as well, which helps aid your thinking. You come out better and more refined.
And we have about like 10 minutes to go before the break, but let's get back to that pressure that you guys, unfortunately or fortunately, because people work differently. Kuna wengine who can't deal with the pressure, kuna wengine who like the pressure because it makes you better, it polishes you. But it's almost like you're thrusted into this position. And now you have to perform differently. Do you kind of feel like all eyes are on you? And it's like, my God. Like,
I think day one.
Yeah.
The pressure on day one. I'm those people who thrive under pressure.
Yeah.
Me napenda pressure. Mimi nieke pressure.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
But I think the pressure on day one,
when we launched.
Yeah, on the launch day.
I think I had my first meal after the show. For the whole day.
You were starving the whole day.
Like, not even starving, you're not hungry.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about this show
It's got to be perfect.
It's got to be perfect.
It has to be perfect.
I mean, anyway, let me not give you secret. You can know when Roncliffe is under pressure, his neck shines a little.
I know. It's good that you noticed that.
Yeah.
But yeah, pressure ilikuwa mob sana because so first is we were all hired in like 3 weeks before launch.
Oh wow.
That's it wasn't like
pressure.
people think it was months of prepping Waihiga, but it wasn't. It was just like boom.
Yeah.
And then I remember our first meeting after us being taken. So I asked my boss, "Sasa tunaanza lini?" And then he was like, "The boss has said we are starting on 5th June." I was like, "Hatuwezi, hata hatujafanya training."
Right?
Hatujafanya
like, there's nothing like that.
Haiwezi.
Yeah.
Can they push it? And they said, "No, 5th June you're going live."
You need to be ready.
Yeah, and so I had worked on the radio side. Yeah. For 5 years. Mimi nilikuwa sijui anything TV at that point. Nilikuwa nishaachana na TV.
Right.
I was just doing radio.
Yeah.
So to be told you're going on air in 2 weeks, so much pressure. And then, now the whole world is looking at you. Because remember, these programs were coming from London.
Right.
So they've moved in Africa. The expectation is so high.
Right.
Standards need to remain the same or get better.
Or better.
Wow.
Yeah.
Irrespective of where you are coming from.
Right.
So pressure ilikuwa juu sana. I remember hiyo siku. Waihiga hakudishi. Mimi nilidishi. Mimi no matter the pressure, eat fast.
Of importance is eating.
So what you guys are saying, like there was the orientation very minimal, no rehearsals.
There was a lot. No. Actually, there was limited time and a lot to do. So rehearsals were every day.
Okay.
I think it was a question of there were a lot of changes happening at that time in line with the digital transformation that was going on and stuff like that. So I think accumulation, a mix of various factors. For example, he was still at the BBC, but he had a previous role.
Yeah.
Some of us joined at that time. And when I joined, for example, when I was able to join, it was about a month, actually less than a month.
Yeah.
So within that time, and these are shows that you rehearse every day. So for example, even till today, whatever show we do today, we've rehearsed it once or twice already. So it's part of the culture.
Yeah.
So imagine 30 days of straight rehearsal. You're trying to look for big guests and big stories to launch. You're trying to make sure you figure out the dynamics. So for example, the show I do has directing both in Nairobi and in London. So you have 2 directors in your ear. You need to get used to that.
What?
I'm serious.
Actually, can I handle 2 of you?
So that's so
I tried it. I did his show one day.
Yes, you almost went crazy.
No, I went after the show.
Did you go?
I was crazy after the show. But after the show, I was like, because Jose was directing me in Nairobi.
Yes.
And then there were 2 other voices coming from London.
I know. By the way,
and
you even start talking to yourself.
Yeah.
The audience is like, is he going mad?
You can. So there was a lot happening.
Yes.
Very little time. You couldn't afford to drop the ball.
It's true.
So there was pressure on that day. But what I've discovered is, man, a lot of the shows that we've grown up loving, it's not that they had everything, that they had all the time they wanted. Even some of the best movies in the world, you only discover later on how much or how little time they actually had to get that stuff together. People only see the end product.
It's true.
So hopefully the end product, I
good.
believe, was fantastic.
It was good.
Yeah, and we're building from there.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
I wonder how you guys feel about changing your genre. Because what I know, first of all, me and Waihiga, do you want to tell them where we know each other from? What did we used to host together?
We used to do a game show.
A game show?
Yes. And her energy, well, let me first of all clap, your energy still remains as high as it was those days. Imagine. It was a daily game show.
And I think you just got to a point you were like, I can't do this.
We had to become the best of friends.
We had to
be able to do it.
Because we were stuck together.
Goodness, every day.
Every single day we were doing a game show. Can you imagine?
Wow. But
Can you imagine?
She's a hard worker.
Thank you.
I'll give her that, and we had a great run.
Thank you. So you guys now, politics, current affairs is running the day. Odit, I've always known you entertainment guy. Maze, you're one.
I know.
Na wase wa bongo flavor na kwa nini?
Sasa hiyo ndio nakueleza sasa hapo ndipo mimi mali nilipo. Yaani hapo ndipo nguvu zangu zote.
Alafu now here you are, you're being told no, calm down.
Una moji rais. Sasa nashangaa mimi najua nimezoea kumoji Diamond. Nimuulize kaka vipi bwana rais wa bongo flavor? Sasa napewa rais wa nchi.
I know, and let me tell you something. If you see the way Odit used to walk like a peacock.
Oh my God.
Okay, down the halls of KBC. I'm telling you, this guy is something else.
I think it still works that way.
I'm telling you, right? So. Maringo too.
We call him Kinara.
Once in a while.
Kinara. We call him Kinara.
I think it's just in me.
It's just in you.
To me, it's about if I feel nice, then I really deliver nicely. So that is my way of also handling pressure. People don't know. So when I'm under pressure, I come, Waihiga atakwambia, I'm there, I'm like, guys, I'm the best of the best, you know?
And I feel maybe your style of interviewing would be different. Exactly. Even if it's politics, you have a different way of executing it.
I think that is my my forte in all this, and I thank God for that gift. Because I still handle. Earlier this year, I was interviewing the spokesperson of the government of Tanzania, and after the interview, he came to me and he was like, "Kaka bana, wewe interview yako maongezi sana, yani imekuwa maongezi zaidi." And I think that is really me. You know, I try to just break it down, bring it down to a level of just normal conversation, so that tupige story tu. Huyu kaka anakuja na maswali magumu. Waihiga anakuja na maswali magumu kabisa.
You don't get a second chance at some of those interviews.
Okay, but then look at. Do you first of all, do you miss sports?
I get to do a bit of sports on the program. Sports was fantastic. Travel, never a dull moment. It was never a boring day. Meeting diverse personalities, and sports has a following.
Yes,
that
like no other.
Crazy. So those guys now follow you as well. I think my 7 years there was what I needed to do. And it taught me a lot about what I do right now, even just in terms of, because I think one of the things that he can also tell you is how many different subjects we cover on a single day.
Oh.
You can be covering a swearing in of a president in one part of the continent.
Right.
Story one. Story two is the unfortunate death of someone else elsewhere.
Right.
So every day you have to have the mind that today I'm tackling 5 things at the same time and I need to be quick about that.
Yeah.
I think I learned a bit of that from sports.
Right.
So I do miss some aspects of sports, but I'm very happy with what I'm doing because I still do sports now, but with a mix of many other things as well.
Right. So why are you so harsh? This is what me and Odit want to know. Look at the eyes he's giving you. Why would I tongue you pressure happy? I think even right now we're about to get.
Why between,
I know.
We're about to get a message from the office of the president.
Yes.
Yeah, Uliza Waihiga shida yake ni nini?
I thought you're going to ask me why between my camera you're passing around. I am not harsh.
Yeah.
I'm just, literally, those are the questions the audience wants to ask. They just don't have the opportunity.
Right.
In fact, some of them say after that, bado hata hujauliza zile swali tulikuwa tunataka.
Really?
And of course, you have to sieve the questions, see which ones make sense and which ones are relevant. So I'm not harsh. I'm relevant and I'm relatable in my style of journalism. That's what I believe.
I think it's about style. Yeah. That is his personal style. Yeah. I've come to appreciate him that way.
And did people say that you were trying to mimic Hussein because you came in right after Hussein and it's kind of like it was an agreement? You have to be the hard talk kind of guy or else you can't do this show.
The comment that I remember is after a while was, you have found your own style. So in the beginning, they will compare you.
They'll compare you to Hussein Mohammed.
Ask Trevor Noah when he took on the
Monday.
The late show. The name slips my mind.
Right.
The guy was compared for the first couple of months, but then he took on his own style, and people appreciated, and new audiences came on.
Right.
So whatever, and this is maybe a lesson to the rest of you. When you take on a show, the first few months they'll compare you.
Yeah.
But it's what you do with the feedback. So you look at the feedback and say, hey, what's positive here that I can learn and pick on, and what's negative that
when I joined BBC Radio 6 years ago in 2018, so I was thrown to this show, Dira Dunia Radio.
Right.
And it's a flagship program for 65 years.
It's an amazing
show. The
program
has been there.
Yeah.
And hiyo ni ile show kama ya KBC ya kitambo ya kina Hamisi Temo. It was a serious show. Hii ni Dira ya Dunia kutoka London.
The intro, we always know.
Mimi ni Tidom Hando. Then
legends. All right, that's right.
And I appreciate those guys. So mimi nikienda pale, mimi nilikuwa nasema hii ni Dira ya Dunia kutoka Kiswahili, mimi ni Roncliffe Odit. Sasa tuangalie yale ambayo tuko nayo kwanza.
Too much energy,
too much energy, and then And then in some stories, I would actually laugh. And some people will text the boss, like, why is he laughing? And then the boss will be like, why are you laughing? And I'll be like, because it's laughable. And she was like, my boss then, this is the BBC. And I was like, yeah, but BBC is no more.
Right?
Who
are you talking to? It's the people. It's the people, right? At the end of the day.
Laughing, I will laugh. You know? Right. So, usually that, because they keep comparing you with other people who've been doing the same show.
Your predecessors,
and yes, and there will be a lot of marks, given and reduced from you.
Yeah, of course. Kuna wale watahama, kuna wale watapenda hiyo style,
umse hatuwezi kana, kuna wale watasema, huyu sasa ndio.
Yeah.
But I think after some time, they all come back to, your point,
Right. Just as long as you remain authentic, I think, which is what he is.
Yeah,
for sure. I think people recognize that this is his style, and they'll grow to, once they get used to it, they'll appreciate it.
Wow.
You know the day I did Focus?
Yes.
Can I speak the secret today? So the day I did Focus, because it's his program, so I did it once. So immediately after the program, so when I started, so during rehearsals, so I came there with my energy. And then Jose is our director.
Okay.
Shout out to Joseph.
Joseph Ngigi. So Jose was like, Odit, maze, isi Dira. Ini Focus. Like reduced it.
Too much energy.
So the time Nikimaliza, everybody was like, Focus was different today. So yes, there are people who liked it.
Yeah.
And then there are people who are like,
but then go back to your corner. Well, we have the team from BBC here, and of course representing very many other talented journalists working at BBC. Remember, Media Max does have its continued partnership with the BBC, giving you amazing segments each and every single day. And so we're just catching up with them, understanding what it's like to be on such a platform, and also for those of you who are eyeing this field of journalism. This is a good one. Follow the conversation as well on social media. Let's take that short commercial break. We'll be back with Odit and Waihiga on Trendsetters.
Story. So within the story. So you will have probably a package, VT, and then you might have an interview now to just like give it more context, and then you might have probably an explainer explaining something, or vox pops or stuff. Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay. Sita move sana. Ukishasema sita move.
long is the break? I don't know. I should tell.
Mimi nilikuwa siendi. Then all of a sudden naona watu kwa group nyingine hapo wanaambiana, "Wewe huku kuna gauge bana."
All right, and welcome back to K24 this morning with me, Shiko Kaitani. What an amazing discussion I'm having today. Hey, the amount of laughs in the first half are enough to carry me for the rest of the day. But that's what you get when you have personalities like Waihiga, Mwaura, and Roncliffe, Odit on set. You obviously know them from the BBC. You know their programs, Dira, Dunia, Focus on Africa. These are very key segments that we also partner up with right here on K24 and broadcast as well to give you the very latest from what's coming off the continent and across the globe. So Waihiga and of course Odit, welcome back. Thank you. Before we went on the break, I had the opportunity to, of course, just catch up with you guys and find out, you know, a little bit about what you guys do on the side. Now, me, I'm just wondering, when you look at Odit's profile on IG, okay, yeah, it's there. Where do you get time to do wedding and corporate emceeing? Bwana Dira ya Dunia.
Hizo zilikuwa za kitambo.
That's an old profile.
I need to update. Unachomea social media manager wangu.
Oh!
I need to fire her.
You need to fire her?
Yeah.
So how did you not know that that was on your profile?
I don't know because you know I have a manager.
But what if I'm getting married next week and I wanted to hire you?
Sijui utafika bei. Shida ni kama utafika bei.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think so other than the job that we do at BBC, there are other things that you can do at the side, as long as, of course, there's no conflict of interest.
Yeah, but you enjoy
and you have to declare.
Hiyo
ndio shida yetu. Acha tu tuambie wale maboys wako huko nje na magalden wanataka kuja BBC. Paka udeclare. Huko hata nikienda kwa MC wedding yako. Paka niende niwaambie.
And trust you have to be for weddings because that energy, you're that voice, you're that energy for making people go around the tent 15 times.
I thought you're going to ask him who will MC his.
I know, because you wouldn't even be good enough.
I know. I can change nikwe mwenyewe.
I know, right?
You'll take it over.
So you guys have this other side to you. How do you guys manage to keep your, engage with audiences, but still keep a very, very low-key profile? For you, what are your tactics?
No, I think one is having a distinct separation between the Odit on BBC and the Odit Ukunje, which is really hard. So what I've done is I've created my online community.
Oh.
So the online community inanijua mimi mseo ma jokes, and I don't post news and stuff on my socials. Huko ni kwa fun. Ukitaka news nenda kwa page ya BBC. And I know I get people like, we are looking for the interviews he did. I'm like, bwana, hizo ni za BBC.
I know, see.
Hizi ni page zangu. Huko kuja tu have fun. Kuja tujibambe. If you go to my TikTok, me uko na
raha. Fun and gives raha.
Raha tu.
What was the name of your show on KBC? Something raha.
Mahanjam.
Mahanjam.
Mahanjam. Mahanja mna mambwembwe. Mbwembwe tuna sherehe. So that is me. But to be honest, and for the audience out there, it's really hard.
Yeah.
You know, separating the two.
It's true.
You know, and especially when you work in some of the spaces we find ourselves in, because you carry the brand.
Right.
So the way you dress, the way you talk, where you eat.
Yeah. Where you go.
Siwezi enda kwa chapati dodo. Hata hapa chini, unaona hapa karibu na kwenu. Pale kokona.
Kai, hapo Globe.
Pale Globe.
Siwezi. Hata huu msee wa matunda umemrusha nje.
Wamenichomea. Siwezi.
But quietly he knows how
na
he gets those products.
Odit ameshinda na deni ya msee wa matunda hapo nje ya KBC.
Hata kuniona hapa sasa hii. Hata nitafuta huko Kenya wewe. Lete.
Waihiga, obviously for you, everybody knows the personality you're married to. So there's a lot of curiosity around your relationship. I bet you guys keep getting invited for all these couple, you know, type of gigs or come through mentorship and all that. But how,
he's actually trying to mentor me.
Oh, finally.
And it's still not working.
It's not working.
It hasn't.
But baby steps.
I think
I
think ni yeye hajafanya job poa. Because bado mimi sijapata mtu.
Odit.
Niko na watu. Sijapata tu mtu. Nimengangana, and Waihiga is not helping me find that one person. I have people.
Now you can imagine if that one person is watching, whether they'll take this seriously or not.
Baby, there's a woman who is crying right now. No, unacheka. Let me tell you, Mungu anakuona, Odit.
Anatuona sote.
I think for me, let me echo what, there's one thing he said that I agree with, that you separate sort of your life on social media. Yeah. So my social media primarily is for work. So I post a lot of the stories that I do.
Yes.
Because I appreciate that audience habits have changed. You know, I don't remember the last time you sat 9 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. to wait for a bullet. Lazima to go to news.
Yes.
The news catches you wherever you are. So you're on TikTok, you're scrolling, you see a funny video, then you see my story.
Right.
And hopefully you'll follow, you know, a couple of minutes of it. So I try as much as possible to keep it that way. And I also believe that
amekaliwa
baby. Aliwaambia ukipost vitu zako wewe utanijua.
Hata niwaambie.
Wanaume wakukaliwa.
Anything. I live with one rule. I live with one rule. Whatever you post on social media.
I see your friend. So Joyce has in short told you don't you dare.
No one has told me.
Ajamwambia masho.
Just the eyes.
Piga jicho kamwambia Waihiga jaribu kupost vitu zako hapo.
You know a Kenya rule on
mimi nikuchagulie suti ngare kama hii. Alafu we post. Alafu mademu waanze kuandika hapo. Waihiga you look nice.
Okay,
I can't even say I have no response.
Okay, tell me.
Next question.
So you'll just separate them?
Separate them?
Yes.
And the cardinal rule is whatever you post on social media is already out there.
Okay.
So just, always think about that as you post your next holiday and everything. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to just let that go because Odit will not allow Waihiga to answer in peace. So if you want to know how Waihiga keeps his life private, you go to his DM and ask him.
You can ask me.
Because even there somewhere Odit will be just interjecting and interrupting.
Hapo kwa DM kinaweza umana. Asitumie DM.
Asitumie DM.
Awali wani DM mimi. Mimi niko free.
He's open.
Odit, can you stop using my show to market yourself? Okay, like focus. Guys, I want you to be honest, very, very honest, because you've been on both sides of the fence. What challenges and hardships do local journalists face that you feel need to be addressed? Odit, let me start with you. When you think about where you are from and where you are now.
Resources.
Resources.
We have great journalists in Kenya, very, very talented people. I have worked with them. Hakuna kamera maze. Unaambiwa kamera, ilienda bunge. Press conference. So you have a great story, you want to go out there to tell the story, you can't go. Hakuna kamera,
hakuna mics,
hakuna mic, hakuna dereva, hakuna gari. And these problems cut across all the media houses.
Right.
I've worked at Nation Media, I've worked at KBC. You know, I've worked in Mombasa in some amazing media houses like Radio Rahma, owned by the governor of Mombasa. I've worked at Radio Salam.
Yes.
Before that's where I started in 2005.
Yeah.
You know, and the same problems cut across.
Yeah.
And so I always say the biggest challenge in Kenya, resources. I work at the BBC. I see the kind of resources they put in, for example, for the African Eye.
Wow. Yeah.
Program moja Africa Eye, they can film for 6 months. Hapa Kenya nani atakupatia kamera utumie miezi 6? You're trying to get that one particular shot.
Right.
You know? No one.
Yeah.
So I think resources ndio zinatukazia, but we have brilliant minds here, brilliant ideas.
And so
at times pia Salo imechelewa. Unaona? Mimi paka niongee tu kweli hapa. At times Salo imechelewa. So uko na story kali unataka kwenda. Tumbo huku ndani mazee inanguruma. Maybe umetoka home hata wife pia haja kuzungumzia vizuri. Amekwambia nenda huko na usirudi. Aenda na unarudi hapa. Salo imechelewa. Unaona? So that is a big challenge.
So you're telling media owners today, tafadhali?
Mwajibike mazee. Fanyeni vitu za mazee, media owners mazee. Mimi hii part ya program inaweza kuwa cut. Lakini wacha tu niseme, I hope hapa Media Max mabosi wenu ni wapoa. Watacha. Mazee watu walipwe on time. Na watu walipwe. I think hiyo ni muhimu.
I think one of the challenges that I can add is that when you have a lean team working on many programs, they won't be able to give their best. And so I think the ability to dedicate teams to work on specific things produces quality. So that's one challenge I think that I see. When you have more time to do stuff, you definitely can do a lot more.
Right.
I will not add anything further to it.
Onto that controversial point that Odit, but I love the honesty.
Yeah. I mean, that is the problem with ailing our media houses in Kenya, and not only in Kenya, apparently. You know, in several other African countries, there is the same challenge.
But they say journalism is a calling. So, in short, journalism ni kuumia, ni kuvumilia.
That is where they lied.
But the bigger picture, though, is that
how will you be called now?
Is that no journalist globally can sit thinking that. They will always be funded for what they want.
Right.
I mean, you've heard about international players, big media houses shutting down, going AI, you know, saying, we don't need Roncliffe, AI will do Roncliffe's job, and that sort of thing. So the field is changing at a remarkable rate, and it's forcing journalists around the world to have to adapt. You know, figure out how you're going to operate in I mean, what will media look like in the next 25 years?
I was just about to ask you that. Like, what's the landscape, guys? Like, I think this is now just a conversation, like, honestly speaking, like, because we're all in the same field. Do you feel that jobs will be as relevant in the next 10, 15 years? What do you think is going to happen to all of us?
There'll be fewer jobs. The predictions out there is between AI, tech, reducing revenue, the money that's going to social media, there will be fewer jobs.
Right.
And so you have to think about versatility. You know, how many languages can you speak? How many programs can you work for? How many different things can you do? You know, to be relevant in a space like that. It's getting harder. And you're already seeing signs of that. Not just here, in the US, in the UK, everywhere.
So this is a global thing.
I look at it differently. It's not about, you know, I was with Waihiga with a meeting with our DG, Director General, a few months ago.
Tim Davey.
And we asked him, in BBC, will there be job cuts? And he likes using a phrase, money will move. And Waihiga will tell you.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm always in the office telling them, I am moving where money is going. So the point is, jobs will still be there.
Move with the money.
Move where the money is.
I love it.
Waihiga said, you know, people will go to social media. By the time wafike huko, let them find you there waiting for them.
I know, right?
Yeah, don't wait.
Like, hey,
don't wait for people to look for social media and then now you start chasing. That is the problem. And most media houses, sadly, are doing exactly that.
They are chasing.
You know, I like what you guys are doing here. You have the K24 Plus.
The digital platform.
It's a digital platform. That is the way to go.
Right.
And somebody might not look at it today and think, this is a good venture and all that. But every other day we are talking, we are going digital. Digital is the way to go. If digital does not find you there, you will start catching up.
Right.
Hiyo ndio kibarua ngumu mazee.
I'm telling you.
Kukimbia.
And by the way, how have you guys felt about the whole movement of influencers taking up spaces in media?
Be an influencer, my dear.
Do you remember the war that was there when we started seeing influencers and journalists going head to head?
And many media houses fought that.
Right.
You know, I now see a lot of journalists who actually report news on TikTok, for example.
Right.
I mean, I agree with him when he says, figure out where things are moving and get there. You know, 30 years from now, you might find in your influencers like news anchors, almost broadcasting the news.
This is
in a
the
sense.
thing.
Not even 30. We're actually seeing signs of it right now.
It is. Can you imagine Terence Creative anafanya Dunia?
And you see, the other thing is, if right now I'm employed to do Dira Dunia for BBC, in the next 5-10 years, I will remind you this. I will not only be needed to do Dira Dunia. There will be another Dira Yanchi.
Somewhere.
In K24, where they will just need me to come for 30 minutes to do that. And there will be another podcast.
Somewhere
else,
Right.
Nitakuwa nafanya huko Japan. Unaona huko Japan huko. Japan kuna Waswahili wengi sana. Nitakuwa na kipodcast changu. Na kidogo Japani tu ndio mdosi asijue kama nafanya kazi Japani. Unaona? Japani peke yake wanapata ile podcast yangu. There will be so many opportunities.
Correct.
The point is you need to be smart. You need to be very creative.
Because there was a lot of bile, and I don't know, are you then telling journalists, stop catching a feeling, right? Don't get bitter, get better. In other words, because if tomorrow, you know, Diana is here, Diana Bahati, that is, being like, oh, and welcome to K24, guys, you know, doing her thing. I mean, how did she end up getting that?
Let me say that very quickly. Two answers. One, when social media first hit the scene, I remember journalists who turned their noses at the thought of being on Facebook or Twitter. They felt like it was something that kids would do to keep in touch. Because you know, that's how some of those platforms began. University guys are keeping in touch. I think they missed an opportunity. For me, I have a policy now. When things start changing, figure out where they are going and jump on that bandwagon. Don't be the one who's pushed onto the train when the train has already left the last carriage ndio tunakusukuma, that sort of thing.
Love it.
Because you are going to miss opportunities. The only thing that's constant is change. But the second thing is, audiences will always want a trusted voice. That after they've seen all the misinformation and disinformation out there, sometimes you get on social media, you don't even know what to believe. So many people are saying so many different things about one issue. You naturally then will go to a platform you trust to verify. At the end of the day, what is the truth on this issue? And that's what we at BBC believe we still offer out there. And I believe even those who follow K24, same thing. Like this. Finally, these guys will tell me the truth. So
that's why you have a leg up.
We have a role. Even after AI, there will be a new... there's something new coming after AI.
And I think
there's always something new.
The thing is, how can we make it work for us? So don't fight AI. Okay, AI is there.
I like that.
Don't fight it. You know, but how can we make AI work for us? How do I, as a journalist, adapt to using AI? Itanisaidiaje AI? That is the question that we should be asking ourselves. You know, so a few years ago, nilikuwa na taxi yangu hapa alikuwa anaitwa Joro hapa nje ya KBC. So I happened to travel. Long ago, before you traveled, I happened to travel.
Where did that
nilikuwa zile time tulikuwa tunawakule.
Unajua mwenye tuta-edit part yako?
Hawezi kutoa hii part poa. Hii ndio part watu wanataka kuwatch. Hii za Waihiga.
Just blur this part of the set.
Utapata umeongea 30 minutes na interview ni 15 minutes. Shauri yako Ron.
Hii part ya Waihiga. Hii unaweza weka kule kwa others, kwa YouTube. Lakini yangu acha ende kwa TV. So, I happened to travel. Then I came back. So at that time, Uber, Bolt, everything was not here. So he came back and I had a conversation with Njoro, my cab guy from the airport tukikuja. Kaambia baadaye nimetoka Dubai. And I've noticed one thing. Watu wanaitisha taxi na simu. And I think huku siku moja itakuwa akaniambia US huku hakuna watu wanaaga internet. Hakunanga bado. Nani akona bado? Hakuna. Okay? So I met him juzi. You know, driving he was comfortable in one of those apps. I requested and then he's the one who came.
Oh wow, shock.
Joro, ulianza kutumia. Akasema hii mambo ya vijana itushida. Tuliingia.
I mean, what else?
Yeah, you can't fight change.
You cannot fight it. Wow.
And technology, you will never fight technology, you know? So the best thing to do is to start thinking, how can I make use of it? Yeah, so AI is here with us. It's not going anywhere.
Okay.
People are pumping billions of dollars to try and find the best way to use AI. In your own small space, start thinking, how can I do that? As a media house, how can we do that?
As an individual, how can I do that? That's some great, by the way, tips by the people who are watching, even those who are trying to jump into this industry. But guys, as we begin to wind down, because we have about 9 minutes or so, haha, you can't hear the directors. Too bad for you guys. What would you say have been your biggest lessons over this 1 year, now that you've clocked 1 year? Waihiga, let's start off with you, this journey of 1 year with Focus on Africa.
I mean, I think one of my lessons is obviously with the trust that you carry, you cannot betray that trust. You know, keep verifying the news, keep verifying. And even for you as journalists, whatever you retweet, audiences take as gospel truth. So don't say it was just a retweet. I think for me, that's one lesson that I've learned. The second lesson is keep learning. Keep learning. You know, never think you've gotten to the top. Just because they call you Kinara, doesn't mean that you know everything. And every new space that you get into requires a new set of something. So be open to that. Number 3, don't take no for an answer.
Okay.
In every space that you step into, there will always be people who will either tell you you've gone far enough, you've already done well, or people don't pass here. And you know, you hear that with the way, not just people saying it verbally, but even body language and that sort of thing. Keep believing that that next level is possible. I think those are 3 lessons that I've
nice.
Finally, people still want news they can believe in.
Okay.
That's verifiable. And one of the things they want to see is how you actually get the news, which is part of what we do. Not just that X is happening in this part of the world.
How?
But how did Roncliffe or Waihiga find out that this is happening? How did they verify? And that's one of the things we're really looking into right now at Focus on Africa, at Dira, with teams like BBC Verify.
Fantastic, fantastic. And for you, you know, what have you picked up other than ladies' numbers?
Hiyo ni muhimu sana. Hapo umezungumza jambo muhimu sana.
I was so worried about
hapo umezungumza jambo muhimu sana. Maana yake numbers zinakuja. Tena zinakuja international. Sidili tu saizi nimekwambia na hapa Kino. Hapana.
By the way, Kino is a different country nowadays.
Napaka Morogoro.
Rongai, Kino, hizo zote.
Uko ni nchi zingine?
Of course.
Oh, so Nairobi mwisho wake ni Udhiru. Anyway, so the point, a few lessons. So one is I like talking about my story, to be where I am, you know, and Waihiga has had this story probably so many times, where I tell people I applied for a BBC job 28 times.
No.
28 times.
Effing way. Oh my gosh.
Times to be where I am. So don't get tired. That is lesson number 1. Don't get tired. It's the question I ask people every time I meet students and people trying to get into the media space is, how badly do you want this? For me, I really wanted it so badly. I was like, I have to work for the BBC. Because my dad, Agre Odit, aliniambia, my dad, wewe hawezi kufanya BBC, wewe nani anakujua? Sisi tunatoka familia maskini bana. Hakuna mtu anatujua BBC. So I told him one day, I will work for the BBC. And it took so many years, but one day it actually happened. So it's all about how badly do you want something? You know? I know. Be consistent, be persistent, and keep improving yourself as you go along. That's true.
You know, guys, we've come from far.
I know.
Waihiga, you can remember how hard it was, even just getting an approval, even this to get on that set for our game show, being selected, you know, because you go through so many.
No for an answer.
Yeah, you keep going through so many processes before someone actually says or selects you and says, okay, we've shortlisted
before
you.
They trust you.
Next week come back for the last audition.
Oh my God.
By the way, people don't believe it. Some of us actually auditioned. We auditioned. Even for me, for this, mine was 3 times before K24.
Exactly.
And I missed it, came back the next year, missed it, came back the next year, and then here we are.
Brilliant. Interview.
Let me tell you, the reason
I hate this guy.
The reason I said never say, don't take no for an answer, which is something he alluded to as well, is because in whatever field you're in, your best idea, your best product, your best story as a journalist is on the tail end, on the back of many no's.
Wow.
So if you're the kind of person who gets a no and you go and you park it and you're like, this is it, there's stuff you won't achieve. But if you're the kind of person who, fine, you're told no, go home, cry, you know, it's crazy, sleep, wake up, try again. Eat. Oh yeah, eat. Don't cry.
Don't cry.
Lament.
Go home, eat.
Eat.
Kula.
Sleep.
Ndio upate nguvu ya kuamka the next day.
You guys, everyone listen. Everyone is skize. So, award-winning journalists are here today, okay? Very proud of you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I mean, and the list goes on, you know, as the years roll on, right? Did you see what I did there? The list goes on as the years roll on. And so we believe in you guys and we wish you all the best. But what does it take to become an award-winning storyteller,
Waihiga?
What did you do any different?
That's a good one. Because one of the answers, unfortunately, I already said, which is any story that I've been proud of had many barriers. Lack of belief that this was actually a story. People tell you, EOC story. You've heard that phrase? EOC story.
Why wouldn't anyone think Masai's playing cricket is not a story?
You know, the image you have of a big story isn't the image other people have. Some people thought it was just a novelty, something that's here today, gone tomorrow. And it's a story that I actually remember not many people were interested in.
Right.
Until it went on air. And one guy texted me and told me, boss, that's a bombshell. You've got a good story there. Yeah. And I told the cameraman that we worked with, get your passport ready. Yeah. We're going to win an award for this story. Now, when I do a passport. And he ignored me. Yes. And a month later, we met because we had a team building. Yeah. So he lived in a different county. Yeah. And I asked him, is your passport ready? And he said, we kwa nini unanisumbua? Si story tulimalizana nayo. Yeah. And when they called us for the award, and it was happening in another country, he called me laughing. He told me, aki ningekusikiza. Sasa mtu upata passport aje.
Hakuenda safari?
Tulienda. Si alikimbia. Haraka haraka. Yeah, and we went to Zambia for that award.
Oh, wow.
So, belief. For me, through prayer. Yeah. You know, just trusting in God. Belief that doesn't matter, you know, which village you came from or how you are. I mean, whether you don't speak the most fluent of whatever language you're pursuing, I have seen sheer belief overcome any obstacle.
Wow, that's amazing.
Keep believing. Yeah.
For you, Odit, what's the sweet spot? Like, what does it for you? How do you even know this is going to be a good one? This is going to take me to the top.
So the first thing is me mwenyewe. Yeah, if I have an interview, I look at it, level. I'm like, wanajua, wanamaliza, I finish an interview, natoka pale nje naambia, hiyo tumekill, hiyo imeisha hiyo. Hiyo ni kali. Hiyo tumemada, hiyo ni kali. So I think one ni hivyo, lazima you must celebrate yourself first.
Okay.
Hii story ya kungoja ati yeye achia Waihiga. You know? Hii story ati wait for others to celebrate you. Achia watu wako na pesa.
Right.
You know, them they'll be celebrated. Sisi hapa chini tunajicelebrate.
Right.
Unaona, so anza kujichocha. Jichoche. You know, you need to be humble. Humility achia watu wako na do. Huku chini sisi hatuna humility. Sisi tunajichocha. You do one thing and then celebrate yourself. Yeah, you make one achievement.
Right.
Wewe chocha nayo. Nayo paka wakutambue. It's about pushing yourself.
Yes.
It's about pushing yourself. But one key thing I have to say, learn. Mimi usema kuwa mjinga. You come to nakuja hapa. If today I was to be employed here, I've never worked here. So nikikama hapa mimi nitakuwa sitakuwa naongea hivi leo. Hii tu ni kwa sababu niko hapa na wewe. Na nikikuja hapa kufanya job nikiingia newsroom mimi ni mpole na wasoma after 1 month. I say, but guys, this is the same person.
Right.
But I was learning.
Right.
There are things I don't know.
Correct.
And every day you meet somebody, there is an opportunity for you to learn.
Wow.
Huyo mtu anaweza kuwa ni mtu mdogo sana, might come here, meet an intern. Somebody who is here interning.
Yeah.
But that intern might have something that I don't know.
Right.
You know, you can learn from them.
That's correct.
So be humble. Kwa kulearn peke yake, kwa humble.
Yeah.
The rest place ya maisha. Usikwe na humility, wachia huko nje. But when you want to learn, be humble. You will learn a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And then
oh gosh, guys, because I know you're so jealous that you're not the ones running the show. Let me give you the opportunity to just sign out. What do you want to tell our viewers and tell them when to catch you? Sawa, Odit, host the show. Sign out.
I think, let me say something before he does it because I'm worried that he'll... Thanks for tuning in. Waihiga Mwaura here. Please catch us every day, Monday to Friday, 7:30 p.m. on BBC World, 8:30 p.m. on K24. So glad to see you and thanks for tuning in.
Woo! Yeah, mimi naitwa Roncliffe. Shukran sana kwa kuwa nasi hapa katika K24. Inaitwaje hiki kipindi? Trendsetters.
Why?
Kwa Kiswahili?
I don't know.
Kwa hapa sisi kwa
aliyebobea. Wabobezi.
So shukran sana kwa kuwa nasi hapa. Mimi naitwa Roncliffe Odit. Mimi nafanya Dira ya Dunia TV katika BBC. Ni watch hapa K24, lakini nifuatilie mimi binafsi katika mitandao yangu ya kijamii Roncliffe Odit katika Twitter, X, Facebook na pia Instagram. Shukran sana, tumemaliza after hapa asiongee mtu mwingine. Mimi naitwa Roncliffe Odit, tumekuwa na Waihiga Mwaura na tumekuwa na Shiko Kaitani. Asante sana. Hii ni K24.
Do you want to tell us your name for the 8th time?
Keep telling them mpaka wakubali.
I didn't remember.
Okay, this guy. By the way, you might as well be here for the next 5 shows, right?
I won't.